got Elysia here with us today. We're going to do a little bit of liberty and fun with her. I've definitely been finding it super hard to get out for training sessions, and this is actually my first training session all week because I've just been so tired being in first trimester and then watching Evelyn during the day, not really able to get out. So my husband's watching Evelyn this morning so I can play with my ponies for a little bit. So let's go have some fun. So heading out to do this Liberty session here. I'm like, all right, we're gonna have a pretty good time here. Start off with some nice little walking and just seeing if she could turn around me. And of course, Elysia decides, you know what? I think I'm gonna go wander around the arena. Kind of look at me a little bit. She's like, you know what? I think I just want to run around and play. So this is what happens when you don't play with your horse for more than a week, and outside the footing is not super great. We've been having some snow and then some no snow, so they get into this footing and they're like, look, I can canter around, Mom, look at me. So she did a fair bit of just kind of running around and totally ignoring me, which in this situation can sometimes be very frustrating because you're like, you know better, but you have to kind of try really hard to just let your emotions totally go away and just stay focused on what it is that you were asking your horse to do and just kind of go back to it as if, you know, nothing had happened before. So I get her back and we do a little bit of our walking circles, and I focus more on just getting her to focus on me and look at me. We do a little bit on both sides, and I'm walking backwards there, which asks her to kind of focus at me and look at me as she's coming around. She's actually giving me pretty good shape there, which is nice. You can see we're doing little changes of direction, and she's actually doing a pretty good job of turning and bending and focusing there. So she's going to get a little cookie, and I'm using her favorite, which are her little stud muffin molasses cookies. So whenever I'm doing liberty work with Elysia, I tend to use the higher value reward because it just kind of piques her interest a little bit more and gets her a little bit more attentive than if I use the roughage cubes, which she's kind of like, meh, could take them or leave them. And then we start a little bit of trot, which was going pretty good to start with. And here I'm actually asking her to come back to me a little bit, but she's just like, you know what? Now that we're trotting, I'm just going to keep on going and just kind of wander around. So I get her back and we come back around again, and right away she's like, actually, I wasn't quite done running and I'm going to go run away again. And a lot of people ask, you know, what do you do when your horse runs away? And some people chase their horse when it leaves them. The problem with that is if I go to a big open space and I take Elysia to the beach or something to go do liberty, then I don't want her to think that when she gets running that she needs to really run and run away from me. So here she's running around like a Gomer head and just kind of being really silly and goofy, but she always comes back to me and she finds me again. So essentially what ends up happening is she realizes that when she runs away, she gets nothing. There's no reward or anything. She doesn't get a cookie when she comes back to me, but I'm not an intimidating thing that she needs to run from. So it's just kind of silly and pointless to run away from me. And if I practice enough with her and we have sessions where she kind of runs off and she comes back to me and she realizes it's better to just stick with me, then those moments will go away. And in this scenario, you know, I don't blame her. You know, outside the footing isn't super great right now, and inside the footing's really, really nice, and it feels really good to be on this footing, and they want to run around. I haven't done anything with her for a while, and she's a pretty young spring chicken thoroughbred. She's only 3 years old, turning 4 in the new year, so she's young. She's got a lot of spunk to her, and she's got her own ideas of what she wants to do. So you can see I got her back there. We started working on that trot again. And even though she can be super frustrating where she does do that stuff, I have to stay rewarding when she gets things right and make sure that I don't lose my emotions. There's my hubby coming in with little Evelyn. He had her playing around in the barn while I was working with my horse, and then she saw me and wanted to come over and say hi. So I'm just giving her a little snuggle there and seeing if she wants to pet the horsey, which of course she doesn't really want to pet the horsey. She's, I think she's intimidated by the horses because they're so big. She likes her little rocking horse that she has in the house, and she's got a little bouncy horse that she has in the house, and she likes that. And she did help me brush Shiny the other day too. She helped me with that. I can show you guys a little clip of that, super cute, where she was more comfortable, I think, because Shiny was on the cross ties and Shiny's a little smaller. So I don't know if I'm going to end up getting her a pony at some point. I definitely want to see her take more of an interest in horses before I invest in getting her something. And I want her to have a pony that's not too big, but not too small that she can't do anything with it after a little while. So we'll see. You can see I'm trying to rub the horse, and she's got no real interest in that. So that's her going off now to go for her snack time, because she's probably pretty hungry too, so that doesn't help. And I get to finish playing with my pony. So that was the little outtake of James visiting with little Evelyn there. So they're gonna go head out, and Elysia just kind of got to hang out there for a second and just kind of rest her head and come off the adrenaline from being super excited running around the arena and super stressed out about all that. So it's kind of interesting to see her stand there with her head down low. She kind of has her front legs a little bit wide apart, which is interesting, which normally means that they're in a bit more in a defensive state. So here we're going to try that trotting again, which she's doing pretty nicely. You can see here I'm going to start to ask for a little bit of a canter cue, which she just gave me a faster trot. So I just take a moment to regroup, rebalance, rather than just kind of push her forward, and then see if we can get that little bit of canter going. So she gives me a couple little strides there. I'm going to give her a little cookie to reward her for that thought and encourage her on that train of thought, because I want her to know that if she's going to offer that and stay with me, then she's going to get some rewards. So you can see she's looking at me there like, can I have another cookie? And I'm like, yeah, you can have another cookie, because canter at Liberty is hard for Elysia. It's a challenging skill for her. So I want her to feel super rewarded, like a total superstar when she gets it right, because I want it to be something that becomes easy for her. So here we're going to give another go again. She got unbalanced, just did a fast trot. So she doesn't get a cookie, she just gets a moment of regroup, rebalance, and then there we go, and we try it again. And she does actually a pretty cute little canter there for me. Just gonna get a little cookie there. And she does that really, really well. And then what's interesting is when I go to switch sides, she actually has a harder time on the right side. She did a lot more leaving me on the right side before we ended up being successful. So you can see in between asking her to go, we take a moment to have the cookie and just kind of pause and have her head relaxed and not kind of rush things. And then we go to head to the right, and she's like, actually, I think I'm just gonna go for a little wander here. So when she runs around like this here, like before she was running around super spunky, but here you can see she kind of does her own little thing, and then she does end up just kind of jogging her way back to me. So if we were out at the beach or in some open space, not the end of the world. She's not running the fence line being like, how do I get away from this crazy human beings? She's just kind of going for her own little jog, doing her own little thing there. So here I'm asking her to go forward again and asking her to frame up a little bit, and we're going to give that a little go and do a little bit of stuff to the right. So she did a bunch of leaving me on the right side, which just kind of shows me that she's not as confident on this side. And I already know that. I know she's stiffer on the right side. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I used to struggle with getting the right canter lead from Elysia. So we know that this side has been a work in progress. But if you look back on the videos from a long time ago with this horse, she's come a long way to go from struggling to pick up that right canter lead to being able to get that right canter lead at Liberty and on a pretty balanced circle is such a big improvement. So here we're gonna just kind of work through those little pieces and just get her to be in a place where she can do that for me. So we started off by getting our trot going and asking for her to do her little collected trot. So there you can see she's tucking a little bit better. I'm asking her to just kind of round up a little bit which sometimes she confused with slowing all the way down, but I'm looking for her to just be a little bit more collected. So I'm going to reward her there. Because she's not as confident on that right side, I tend to reward her a little bit more frequently on that right side because I want to really encourage her to try and be confident and want to kind of stick with me there. So we're going to give this another go here in a second and just kind of easing her up into where I'm going to ask for that canter. So here she's doing a little bit of a wider circle, and I'm asking her to go around there, and you can see she's doing pretty nicely there, and I'm able to call her back to me. So this is looking really, really good. We're going to go out again, and I'm going to see if I can slowly guide her up into getting that canter. So seeing if I can add that little bit of energy there. So you can see she gives me a couple little strides, and I'll offer her a little reward there. And it's that fine balance of asking for more energy and kind of having that bounce and that rhythm to get her to take that canter, but not be overwhelming that she feels like she has to just peace out and leave. So that's pretty tricky when working with her, because she gets overwhelmed pretty easily and will just peace out and jog around, but she'll always come back. And so hopefully that will just get better and better as we work together. So here I was asking for a little canter. She didn't quite give it to me there. So we just kind of regroup, and then I try again with my energy, and there you can see she gives me a pretty nice canter, gives me a full circle going all the way around, and then she's gonna get her little cookie there. So doing building her up like that slowly is really, really good for their confidence. You can see she's getting lots of praise there, trying to keep that really rewarding for her. And then we're just going to do a little bit to the left because we were doing a fair bit to the right there. So we want to make sure that we balance out the sides and do a little bit on both sides always. Especially if I'm working on one side for a while, then it's nice to switch sides again and just go out in the other direction. And when she's sticking close to me there, you can see I reached out and I gave her a little scratch. And I'm just trying to get her to shape around me a little bit better there and finish up with a little bit of trots going this way. So that was my spunky little Elysia. I definitely was not expecting that going into the session, but was thankful I had the time to kind of work through it. So in a second here, I'm just going to show you guys a couple little clips of little Evelyn brushing Shiny. This made me super happy because she doesn't normally want to hang out with the horses too much. But she was watching Mummy brush Shiny, and I put her little stool there, and she just crawled up all by herself and wanted to do what Mummy was doing. So I thought that was pretty cool that she's starting to kind of be interested and figuring out what these horses are all about. So super cute, I thought. She's doing the little brushes there and interested. It's pretty cold here right now too, so I don't blame her for not wanting to be out at the barn. But you can see she's playing around with the little brushes there. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and watching Miss Elysia. Remember, no matter how frustrating your horse gets when you're doing that kind of stuff, just keep calm and carry on, because that's going to be what helps draw your horse back to you. So thanks for watching, guys, and bye for now.